Welcome. Thank everyone for joining. This presentation is about the benefits to the Nisbets and Nesbets of both societies on WikiTree. Irene's coming in. For quite a while now, both the United Kingdom as well as the North American societies have been encouraging our members to join WikiTree, as to working with getting the message out, trying to give some information out to our members. And we thought the best way of doing this would be not with just slides and presentations, but to have some basic groundwork in terms of what WikiTree is, and then show the experiences of some people that are fairly new to WikiTree, and then allow folks to add questions, because I know there's no presentation that'll answer all your questions. And so a few rules here. First of all, we are recording this, and the recording will go on the websites of both societies. And if it looks sufficiently good enough, we'll put it on our YouTube channels. So if anyone doesn't want their video on a potential YouTube channel, then you can, I guess, turn off your video. But we're hoping to use the video, obviously, to attract an interest to the websites. When we start, I will mute everybody. And just some of the rules that we're going to work with. There's two features to Zoom. One is chat, and one is reaction. And either at the bottom or the top of your Zoom page, you'll find reactions, and hopefully you'll find chat. So we're going to try to allow as many questions as we can. So when you go to reactions, there'll be a hands up. There'll be a raise your hand feature. You can see that in the corner. So if you'll find reactions and you know where it is, if you have a question, raise your hand. That'll allow me to see, okay, well, there's a question, and then I can call on you when we get a break to the point where we can answer that question. Also, we would like you to use chat to where you can put your name, your email address, and your question. There may be a reason that we need to get back with you for further information, or possibly we can't get to everyone's question. So that'd be quite helpful if you would just go into chat and then send out a chat to all about what your question is, and then we'll be trying to work that in to where we can answer everyone's questions. Everyone found reactions in chat? Good. Lori, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Well, yes, I can. We're just going through some logistics here. I want you to use reaction at either at the bottom of the page or the top of your Zoom page to raise your hand so that we know that you have a question.
Got it.
And then use chat to document the question with your email address and name. So if we have to get back with you, we know who to get back to.
Hey, thank you.
All right. And as far as introduction, I am Ed Nisbet, the Secretary of the North American Society. And we have with us James Nisbet, who is he just raised his hand, who is one of the educators, instructors for WikiTree, and an integral part of that process, trying to educate people and give them the information that they need to know to effectively use it. And then Bill Nisbet, there he is, waved his hand. He's the vice president of the North America Society. So I want to thank everyone for being here, and thank for James and Bill to help this out. Okay, well, we're going to start off with James, unless somebody already has a question. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
What I'm going to show you though is just a short slide pack on WikiTree. It's not an instructional video. I'm not going to show you how to put people on it, how to make changes, things like that. So for instructions, then we're looking further down the line for people to make contact with either of the societies, whether it's in the UK or in North America. And we're going to come towards you and give you some assistance. So I'll show you what the pack is all about. So just bear with me while I get it up. So can you all see that on your screens at the moment?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a slideshow on two parts. Me talking through some of its benefits, and there's going to be a practical demonstration given beyond that by Bill and Ed. These are some comments made by people within each society. So the first comment is made by Mark, and Mark is saying that he's a great enthusiast for WikiTree. He's endlessly grateful to everyone involved in enhancing content for our ancestors. It's a brilliant way of ensuring that hard-won research isn't lost to future generations. Not only do I use it as a handy reference for my own family, I also often find it instantly answers queries that I receive. I warmly encourage all of us in the Nisbet Societies to be involved and look forward to learning more about how to use it. A further comment is made by Peter Nisbet, who's the president of the UK Society, and he's saying, unlike any other application I know, WikiTree is a well-disciplined repository for storing and connecting details of our ancestors for all to see. Once members have researched and found verifiable records using other applications, I strongly recommend they focus their efforts on storing at least the basic detail on WikiTree. Yes, it can appear complex, but society as a whole is here to assist you. And the third comment is from Bill Nisbet, who's the Vice President of the North American Society. Using just a few of my family records, I quickly made connections to my ancestors because others had already entered them on WikiTree. Your connections to ancestors will happen the more you add names and dates with good genealogical sourcing. So the high-ranking officials within our organisations are thoroughly recommending that we use WikiTree for our efforts. Now, during this presentation, we're making the assumption that you've already created your own profile on WikiTree. If not, no matter, we're here to help you. And what we show today might change slightly tomorrow as WikiTree evolves. And like everything in life, if I show you a process how to add somebody onto WikiTree, there's people in the background trying to make it easier and better. So what I tell you today may change tomorrow, but the steps change will not be that great. You will not be able to follow the process. And as Ed said, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and we'll try and answer them for you. So what's WikiTree? So when you go into the WikiTree first page, this is what it would look like. And the benefits of WikiTree is trying to build a worldwide tree So it's trying to get every tree under the sun linked together and see how far back we can go on it. The privacy controls within WikiTree are there to assist you and to give you confidence that the privacy levels that you set, you're sure that any private detail you don't want to share will not be shared. There's protections within WikiTree in that if you touch a profile, so if you enter your basic details and you put some life story bits in, and then you want to change something later on, that is recorded. So nothing is lost within WikiTree. The changes are always logged. And those with Scottish heritage will be glad to know that it's 100% free. There is no hidden costs. There's no apps you have to buy within WikiTree. You're not paying for any records. You're using all the facility and the benefits for free. As of the 12th of August, yesterday, we had the following makeup in Nisbet profiles within WikiTree. The thing to note here is the spelling of the name Nisbet. The spelling of the name Nisbet is totally dependent on the person taking the record. So we've got about 14,500 Nisbet profiles already on WikiTree, and it's growing every day. Most important thing about data protection is the privacy controls for the person entering the data. So within WikiTree, you've got full control on what level of privacy you want to set. So you can have it from no public information, which would be at the top, which is unlisted, and the padlock would be locked. So anyone can view and edit it who has signed the honour code. And there is one exception. That profile will be open for people born over 100 years ago or who have died over 100 years ago. So that is open. And on the top right of any page of a profile that you're looking, you'll see a padlock. You simply hover over that padlock and it will tell you what the privacy level is set at. Further enhanced privacy features for you is the trusted list. So as the owner of a profile, you can grant others access to a locked profile in order to edit it. So that person must have a WikiTree profile. And an example when you might want to use this is if you want to, if another researcher is helping you, or if it's a family member. And what can you see? What's the difference between a private view and a public view? So my own profile is set as private with public family tree. So people can see my tree, but not any personal information. If anybody wants to see that personal data, you must either be on my trusted list, unless I alter the privacy level of my profile. So it's very, very limited is what people can see. And where people tend to get hung up when they're doing profiles on WikiTree is that as the owner, you're building it and you look at the page and you see all that detail, you go, I don't want people to see that. But remember, that is your private view and not the public view. And there again, you see the padlock on the top right hand side, giving an indication of what that privacy level has been set for the particular profile. As I mentioned, if you make any changes to a profile within WikiTree, it is logged. So every time a profile is altered, it's recorded. This means that you can view any changes, so nothing is lost. You can see who did it, when. It's an excellent feature and great for correcting mistakes. So in this example here of profile for John Nisbet, you'll see on the 16th of January 2023, at 11:33, it's saying you, which means it was me, edited the biography. You can see on that same day, the 16th of January, the profile was altered at 10:59, 11:15, 1133. And then you can see on the 11th of April, I edited the death place for John Nisbet. And if you were to click onto any of these underlined sections, you would see what the changes were. The most unique thing about WikiTree is it doesn't have duplications. So in this example, what I'm trying to show you is all these trees have the same oldest known ancestor. But this is just an example and they don't refer to anybody in particular. But I guarantee you, if you go into other sites, you will find trees showing some of your ancestors, but they never linked together. So in this example, we have James Nisbet, around about 1780, and he's on 3 trees. These are fictitious people, by the way. So Pam Hills, as she owns tree 1. James Nisbet owns tree 2. Fred Jardine owns tree 3. These 3 people are all working in isolation on the same goal. They're heading towards the oldest known ancestor. However, on WikiTree, that cannot happen. This is leading to multi-work and a waste of time. So how does WikiTree prevent duplication? It does it by you building the profile. So you're adding a person, you're putting all their details in the boxes, and get right down to the bottom. And it says you've got a choice now. It doesn't always throw up choices. If it believes that there is somebody who's similar, because that's what it's asking you to do, it's asking you to consider whether this person may be the same person you're building. Once you've checked on the left-hand side if that person has been built, then you simply click the box and say, this is the person that I'm trying to build. So somebody else has already done that work for you. And this is what I mean, on other sites, you could simply build this person and carry on regardless. When in WikiTree saying, somebody else is working in this area and they've already done this piece of work. There's no point in you doing any more. Let's see what they've done. So you would choose the person. Should you ignore this piece of advice and build the person, at some point down the line, you will get notification that there is a possible merger required, and you'd have a look at the 2 people side by side and go, yes, they are the same person, and you simply merge them. But that is part of the instruction that will be given to you when you're learning how to use WikiTree. This is a typical tree as you look at it. So this is a William Nisbet, about 1786. These are his descendants down the left-hand side here. And it's been built by multiple profile managers. This is not been built by a single person. So you've got one person has built James Nisbet there. You've got somebody who's built George Nisbet down here. And somebody's built Barbara Kennedy Nisbet here. And this is where your tree takes shape by others working away in the background, and eventually your paths will cross and you can link them all together. And the thing to remember, there is only one of you. Therefore, you cannot appear on multiple trees as the case on the other sites. This makes WikiTree unique and easier to link to other family members. So always bear that in mind. You are unique. So you can't appear on a tree, an ancestor belonging to me. You can't belong on a tree, Ed, and so on and so forth. WikiTree we all come together. Now within WikiTree, we have our own name study capture, all the spelling of the name Nisbet, and this is managed by Jean. So Jean is the owner of the Nisbet name study. And you can see the work that Jean's done in the background, multiple pages that she's created to try and help members of the society. You can see the name variations in Nisbet. They're unbelievable. And as I said, people check a record, they go, oh, that's spelt differently, it can't be the same. Well, it could well be. So just bear that in mind. And all the records that have been captured, multiple ways of spelling Nisbet. What I've tried to show you here is just a couple of the main benefits of WikiTree. I've not tried to give you any instruction because that would take far too long. To fully utilise the features, I would advise you to make the services the society coordinators. I'm one, and I'm sure the coordinators within the North American Society as well. And we give up our time free, just make contact with us, and we'll help you through, make an appointment, and you can do something over Zoom. What we've got in mind further down the line to help members, we hope to run workshops on a single subject within WikiTree. So an example of that could be a few people have come towards us and they want to get some help on how to build a profile, maybe how to add pictures, where to place the pictures, add sources, because the key thing about WikiTree is if you make a statement, so if you say James Nisbet was born in Scotland in 1914, then you need to show evidence that that is the case. You can't just make a statement and walk away, because there's features within WikiTree that would pick that up, but this is unsourced information. So we will help you in adding sources, where you get the sources, what a source is all about. The subject would be picked by the members themselves and be run by the WikiTree coordinators within the society. And should we need to pull in experts way above our pay grade, then we'll do that. Remember, we've got access to various people within our organisations, and we can also access people within WikiTree itself. That's my email address. This pack will go out to the members after the presentation, so there's no need to write it down, it's there on the screen. So thank you very much for watching the presentation, and it's time now for a practical demonstration how your tree can be connected using WikiTree. I'm going to hand over to Bill and Ed, so thank you very much, and Ed, we could probably take some questions at this point as well.
Right, any questions?
We've got two in the chat.
Okay, Lori, I see your hand up.
Yeah, can you hear me? Or
Yes.
should I type it in chat? Okay. I'm getting ready to upload my tree into WikiTree from Ancestry. I didn't know if that was something you'd be showing or talking about. How I was reading the instructions, it seems pretty straightforward, but I don't know if anybody had done that yet. And any helpful.
Okay, Laura, yeah, you can certainly drop a GEDCOM from Ancestry onto WikiTree. By the sound of it, you've done the homework on it. I've done it personally myself, and it was a long job, because as the record comes across, bearing in mind there could well be a lot of duplication in Ancestry that would be picked up on WikiTree, and then you have to go through and check as it throws up. So it can be done, but I advise you now, it's long and it's tedious, but it can be done.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking it might be easier just to do my one straight up Nesbet line that I know about and not do the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to drop me an email, I can certainly set up a call with you. and we can go through and I can show you what's what on it.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing is, if it's a small tree, it's easy to do. If it's a huge tree, it's a monster of a job.
Okay, yeah, mine's a huge tree, so I thought about putting a Nesbit on a separate tree and doing that one.
Okay, yeah, drop me an email and we can set up a call and we can talk about it. I see one of the questions is where do we find access to WikiTree? Ed, I think what we'll do is to set up a basic tutorial, simple where do we access, so on and so forth. Is the Nisbet name study by Jean on WikiTree? Yeah, it's on that page. It'll come out on the help pack, so you'll be able to see it. And she's also captured through a thing called categories. I don't want to get too technical, but as Jean and I have been building profiles, we've been categorizing by area, so it's Scotland and then the county, and in some cases there's occupations, and it goes lower and lower. So we can put that together for you as well. Any other questions for me at this point? Ed, I think you and Bill may want to talk about your practical use.
Bill's up.
All righty. I guess everyone can see me. I'm going to share a screen, and let me find it here. There we go. Okay, here is, I'm a new person to WikiTree. I started WikiTree in May of 2023, just a few months ago. So I'm relatively new. You see up here, this is my code Nisbet 7615. I was 7,615th Nisbet to be whose information is in WikiTree, and I mostly put it in here. So I got onto the camp. By the way, the earlier question, where do you find wikitree.com? You know, you can Google it or whatever, but wikitree.com is where you begin. The first slide that James showed you is the one that is the page that comes up where you begin the process of signing yourself in. This is what I have in here that I can see. This is my private page, my private information. This is my profile. I have my name. This is my biography I put in here. Here are the sources, my birth certificate and marriage certificate, unique situation. I have 2 birth certificates, one when I was born and one when I went to get a passport. So there you go. I have DNA, and I'm part of the DNA the society has done, and other things here. This is what you can see is my private view. Up here, Nisbet profile, I can edit it, I can add images, do other things, and this is my privacy section. This is what, if you pull me up, this is what I'm going to allow you to see about me. That I was born in the 40s. It doesn't give a specific birth date. It does give my mother and father. I haven't put in my siblings yet. And it tells you information I have. But this, as James said earlier, is I got to rearrange my screen here. I can't see right. This help sign up here. This is my my privacy. What I put in here, this is how I'm private. You can only see certain things. And, you know, one day when I'm 100 years dead, they'll show everything, and that'll be fine with me. But this is what everybody sees. This is what my public information is, what you will see when you look for me. When you sign into WikiTree, one of the first things you do is you're contacted by somebody. Welcome to WikiTree. We can help out. Let me know. G to G, genealogist to genealogist. If you have questions, there's a community out there to answer your questions. There's James, there's Gene Scar, there are others. in our society who answer questions, but in WikiTree, there's all kind of people who are very ready to help you, absolutely happy to help you. But when you sign in and get into, you need to sign the honor code, which when you sign on to it, well, let me go to here to this tells you what I am. I have GED connected, and the honor code. The honor code itself has, let me pull it up a second. Whoops, here it is. As what we do, we collaborate, we have accuracy. You say, I'm not going to put in thing here that is wrong, that I can't prove with traditional genealogical sources. We assume mistakes are unintentional. You go ask people to fix it. Everybody courteous, privacy, watch your copyrights, give credit, your sources. This is what you agree to do. This happens to be a list of everybody that signed that honor code the day before and the day after I did. You know, so we're really interested in what's going on. Here, go to my profile again, what everybody sees. DNA is important. I am part of what used to be called DNA Group 3. It all comes in the North American groups descended from Alexander, who we traditionally say was born at sea. We don't know where he was born, but a lot of people, Adam, Guy, Carl, and myself, you know, we are confident that we are that part of DNA. What we don't know is who our ancestor is and who was in Scotland. And I'll talk more about that later. To get help on WikiTree, again, at the top, you have all kinds, my WikiTree, my name and other things, add, find, but under help, you go down here to WikiTree, intro to WikiTree. When you get there, it'll give you a lot of introduction. This is the most interesting thing they say up front. We know WikiTree is a bit complicated. You know, it's not intuitive at some points, but it's not impossible to figure it out. It's very easy to figure it out. You just have to be patient with yourself. But they admit that it's complicated, and they're, like I say, there are people there to help you all the time about it. And you go up here and look for oh, I had James. Where is James? There he is. See, I can go find James. My good friend James Nesbitt, who's shown you all of this, here's his public profile, but it shows you how much of an expert he is on it, and he's there to help us. And that's what's important to know. In addition to what James can do verbally, James has 3 presentations, PowerPoint presentations that he shared with me. And all 3 of them have helped me very much to get involved in this. And so I encourage you to ask Gene stuff. So, oops, this is his family tree. I didn't want James's family tree. I wanted my own. So I have to go find myself, search up myself again. There I am. Now I go over here and look for my family tree. And here's where I entered myself, my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather. I only entered this information and went looking for my father. My father was already here. My mother I added, but my father was already here and had been added by Jean Scar. Now I'm also, she's given me permission also to work on her, but Jean was the one who added my father. Somewhere back whenever. She did it in 2020. And so right there, I clicked on to my father, and when I found his family tree, I discovered my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, all the way back, let me get over here, to Alexander Nisbet, who we know we use as point at C. You know, we don't know where he came from. Adam Smith may have found his mother, but it's still uncertain. You can add stuff that's uncertain, but you have to claim what it is. You got a hint, but you're not sure. Now someone else can go dig it out. But here's Alexander born at sea, and DNA is what we're looking for. Let me say right now, back to Alexander. The only way we're going to get Alexander back in Scotland is when our Scottish friends brothers, males, do the DNA, and hopefully that DNA shows up, and we can use that to kind of get a hint to figure out how to find where Alexander's father was. That's our only hope, is through DNA. But the other thing about that is that the DNA says without a doubt that we are part of the Nisbet clan. So and I know some of us who are on this cast use DNA because that gave them the assurance they needed to know who they were. And I've heard that story, and it's a great story. So there we are. When we go back to my ancestors, when I go down again to my, where am I here? That's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. John Newton Nisbet. This is my great-great-grandfather, who is the one that moved near where I grew up. And everybody moved to Lancaster County, South Carolina, but he moved into the town called Van Wyck. And what I discovered when I went here, his name, someone else had put him in. Who had done that? Rich Davis had done that. Who is Rich Davis? Well, you can go down here. I can click on, well, there's Rich Davis. And Rich Davis, he's from across the state line in Union, South Carolina. I recognize those names. I said, wait a minute, I think I know who that is. Or at least I know some of the names. And you go down to the bottom of it here, and now it gives you my connections. It gives you he's 26 degrees from all these people, and they give you all this stuff. But then there's your connection. How am I connected to Rich Davis? Rich Davis has done all this work. His father, his mother. Suddenly I know these people. Taylor. This is my grandfather, my father, and myself. We're all connected. Here's a cousin. I didn't know him personally, but now I know where all this information came from. And we're going to get together one day and sort of talk about all the crazy Nisbets in our family. So this is the tree. My father, I added him. Gene had already put many things in, but I added his birth and death certificate. Gene had put in the find a grave, and I put in this biographical stuff, and I was able to do that. So this sort of tells you, well, what other person I wanted to show. This is my mother. I've added a picture, got a picture from my brother that I thought was perfect when she was a young lady, and added her all in here. And one day I had birth certificate, death certificate, their marriage certificate, all these things I added into a source. But what I don't know yet, of course, her last name was Quintard, which is an unusual name, but now I've got to go. I have a lot of these information on paper. I've got a lot of files, paper files I've picked out over the past, and I'm going to use those to build that. And I'm confident that I build out to her father, grandfather, great-grandfather. Sooner or later, I'm going to click on to the rest of them, and that genealogy will go all the way to wherever it leads me. And I'm looking forward to that very much. So that's pretty much my presentation. I'm looking at some of the other questions, and one of them has already been answered. They've been answered. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm finished now. Anybody want to have a question of me? Like I say, I'm a new user. It's all new to me, but I'm excited about it and look forward to doing more and more of it.
Well, Bill, while you were talking, we've had several questions. I didn't know if you and or James, more than likely James would be the one to field these if this is a good time. From David, he asked, what if a person on your tree is linked to an existing person whose details are incorrect?
Well, I saw that James had answered that, I thought.
Well, is James there?
I'm trying to figure out how to unshare my screen.
Question was answered. Thank you very much, James and Peter.
Bill, can you scroll to the top of your page? Right, stop now. Show the profile owner. Scroll down. Scroll down to show the profile owner of this. Can you scroll down a bit? Scroll down the page a little, Bill, please. Stop. Stop. You went too far. Go. We want to show the people who owns it. Stop there. Right. Stop. Right. So the question was, if somebody has put information on a profile that we believe the information is incorrect, there's two things. One, next to the profile manager, it says send a private message. So you could send a private message. The other thing is, if you scroll up again there, Bill, to the padlock, show the padlock. Right, on the top right-hand side, there's a padlock. Should that padlock, this one is yellow, that padlock, if that padlock is open, then you can change the profile yourself. And it would show up as changes. But my suggestion would be to either send the message out of courtesy, or if it's open, as I say, you can alter it. And what would happen is, again, I don't really want to go into the learning package at all, but there is a facility that you can set up that informs you if anybody touches a Nisbet, you can get an email at around about midday every day, and you can go and see what the changes are. So the basic answer is you can send a private message and say this is incorrect. But bear in mind, that profile may have been created 10, 15 years ago, and you may not get a reply from that person, and it's important just to look at the padlock as well. I hope that answers the question for the person that was asking.
Thanks.
I discovered in this tree that was already built by someone else that this name was wrong. It was put in as this name is wrong. It's not Nesbit, it's Nesbit. But that was put in by Donald Daniel. I haven't checked with her yet, but I need to go to talk to her because I don't know why she has Nesbit in parentheses and Nisbet in bold, but when I look at the profile, it has Nesbit. And so I'd rather this Nisbet be the right, that's the ancestor. That's the ones who lived in Lancaster County and are buried in Old Waxhaw or Terza Church. Let's see, I forget, does she have Find a Grave? She doesn't have Find a Grave on here, but I can add that. But I know the name Nisbet is correct here, but when you go down to the family tree, it's, well, here it says Nesbitt-Nisbet. When I looked at it earlier, it said just Nesbit. And that irritates me a little bit. So we'll get it figured out.
There's a question, Ed, from Carol, regarding which DNA is recommended for female Nisbets. What I would say on that part, Carol, is that we would ask our DNA coordinators to answer that question on your behalf. There's one in the UK who's Jean Scar, and in America, is it Adam, Ed, is your DNA coordinator?
Yes, Adam.
Thank you.
And Carol, I can send you Adam's email address if you'd like to get to know more about that.
Sure. I mean, I know that, it needs to
Do you
be
have a,
a different type, but I'm not sure what. I'd like to have it tested, but I don't know.
do you have a male relative at all?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I am the last.
Oh, that's a shame.
Father is deceased and I'm an only child. And there are no other uncles or anyone I know of. So unfortunately,
I think you're going to find out a big problem. I think what we would probably be suggesting is you try to go backwards up in your tree and then go sideways and try to come back sideways from further back and see if you can find a living male relative somewhere, because that's going to be the best way to get your DNA linked into the overall Nisbet DNA
I want to
study.
do it not just only for the Nesbet side, but for the other side as well. And so, yes, but I agree, if I could. So far, I haven't been able to do that, find anybody that's living, but I'll keep working at it.
But don't give up. Talk to Jean and anybody else. Fire out your question to the society through the information pages, and there's lots of people that will probably be able to do some research help for you on the side, and see if we can help with that.
Unfortunately, it's just not a side that's been particularly well researched. I do know I do go pretty far back. I can trace that through the Pennsylvania Nesbets, but again, so far I haven't found anyone that is actually available.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm 85, so I better do it pretty soon.
Okay.
Carol, the other thing is that if whoever your Nisbet ancestor was, have you found that person on WikiTree yet?
Yes, I have. I'm connected. James has helped me a great deal. Just
Okay,
recently
well,
had a call with him, and he really put me on the right track. So I'm finally getting my profile pretty well developed, and as far as the Nesbets are concerned, and he's really been helpful.
okay,
And I
well,
agree with you, Bill, that the information that he sent out, the 3 packets that he sent, were all really helpful.
but I would hope that as you connect up with more Nisbets, one of those ancestors, some great grandfather Nisbet, that someone will say, hey, will have done the DNA, and that Nisbet's DNA will be what you're looking for.
Ah, great idea.
You got me.
Matter of fact, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I've searched every Nesbet who ever lived here. Well, who's your Nesbet ancestor in Pennsylvania?
It was a William. So he lived up Lake Erie, and he was primarily someone who was a seaman and worked on Lake Erie, and then he ended up dying in there in Erie, Pennsylvania, and is buried at the Veterans Cemetery there in Lake Erie, or in Erie.
You would pick the one place I haven't searched.
Tom, for your reference, I've got Nisbet connections, a direct line back to our oldest known ancestor in Plum. So I don't know if you know Plum at all.
No.
Plum, Pennsylvania, Tom.
But that's a great idea. I'll look for another one that has already, another male in the line that has done their DNA. Thank you all.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, I guess it's my turn. Well, Bill gave you a lot of information, and I'm going to parallel that quite a bit just to show you that it's unique to Bill's tree. A lot of what Bill showed you, I will show you as well. But I want to focus on primarily the concept of one single human tree. Just think about that. Everyone's connected. We don't have the multiple trees, as James mentioned. They are now integrated by merging common ancestors. So I want to, that to me is one huge benefit. The other benefit is that it integrates DNA. It's not out there somewhere else in a different format, a different website. It's all right here, and it uses that to help bring members of the same family together. And lastly, the power of collaboration. I think James gave you some more recent numbers, but if you can imagine 35 million profiles within the base, whether you're doing Nisbets or your mother's family or whatever, that is powerful. So I want to start with just my WikiTree and just go to my family tree. And what I liked about this part, it looks like a normal tree. You've got people and it breaks out with parents and siblings and the whole bit. It looks like anybody's family tree. And so let's go to my grandfather, James. As you see, he's Nisbet 2925. It gives the usual information, dates, born, deaths, son of, brother of, siblings. And you can see where I am the profile manager. Well, I created it initially. And then if I go to changes, you can see the collaboration here. Gene Scar has been very active working me with James Garfield to add a lot of information that I did not have. You can see back here, I created him, and over time, other genealogists have helped to add information. There's Gene. Here's a Creighton, added some information. Here's Jeffrey Sprague, who added some information to develop the biography of this person. And Jeffrey Sprague, when I was growing up, my mother kept on saying they were very friendly with the Sprague family, so that name rang a bell. So you can click on old Jeffrey there. You see he's locked, so we're not going to get a whole lot of information out of him, but he's been very active in that. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can find out he's pretty close, 5 degrees of separation between Jeffrey and I. And he goes right up to my mother's family, all the way up to him. So that's who he is and what connection he has to me. And then going back to James Garfield. The other thing I really like about WikiTree is that I never met my grandfather. He was alive when I was alive, but he lived in Maine and I lived in Georgia, and for whatever reasons, the two really didn't visit much. So I never met him. But if you look at the biography, it is a narrative of a human. It is just not birth dates, death dates, names, and places. It is a chronological order narrative or story about this person. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. it was generated for a lot of sourcing that Jean Scar did. I don't take credit for this. Some of it I did, but she pulled in census data. Okay, well that showed me, a lot of information about the family, marriage dates, another census information. So this is the type of data you can pull in to build up the biography. Plus, you can add memories. If you have met this person or know this person, and you don't have specific documentation, but you have some specific memories of them, you can add that here and add that to them. Because you knew the person, that's documentation enough. And that why, to me, the biography is just so fascinating. And one of the really benefits of WikiTree. Then I want to go back to my tree. And then go up to William Parker. Because William Parker, the only information that I put into the tree was myself, my dad, my mother, grandfather, grandmother, and my grandfather on my mom's side. Everything else I'm about to show you was through the collaboration of other genealogists and the merging of people that was already in WikiTree. So William Parker, as you can see, Gene is the profile manager. Gene created that. And everybody else that goes on beyond was a collaboration with other genealogists. Here's an example to find a grave, as Bill mentioned. And you compile all this into sources, and sources lead up to a biography. And just to try to highlight this even more, you go to my WikiTree and go to connections. Keep in mind, I entered 6 people in WikiTree. And these are my connections. 870 people are connected to me. And you can go through the degrees of separation and keep adding and keep adding. Degrees of separation. It's just amazing to me that all these people I am connected to these people one way or the other, either through my dad's line or through my mother's line. And here's, Fanny Nisbet, just to take an example. Okay, well, she's born in Glasgow. Well, I didn't know I had anybody born in Glasgow. So far, all my work has been Ayrshire. And there again, collaboration with Jean Scar. Not a whole lot of sources in there for a person that's been passed by a long time. But if you go down to the bottom, as we have mentioned before, and see your connection, well, you can see I'm a pretty close descendant from her, going up my dad's line. That's extremely interesting and important when you want to figure out where people are within your ancestors. The other thing that I think is pretty neat is you go up to my tree and you go down to cousins. Come on. Okay, so these are living cousins. So these are people who are alive, but are in your ancestry trees. And so this might give you some help if you want to contact someone, try to collaborate with them, see what they know, see what they have to add to your information. This would be a great way to find out these people. And I can see that, most of these people are on my mom's side. But I think this is another very important source. And then going back to my tree, this merging and collaboration is not always guaranteed. My grandfather on my mother's side, apparently he's not in there. He is not in WikiTree, so all the magic that happened on my Nisbet side has not happened here. So it's not guaranteed. So I'm gonna have to put some more work in here, add a few more people to see if those people are in WikiTree so that we can get that merging and help fill in the data a lot quicker. And then another interesting thing, and that screen is blocking the way. And go to the family lists. This is another interesting one where you can do some sorting. You can sort by different characteristics to help maybe find someone in terms of the birth date. This may be a good way of quickly finding someone who is a relative of yours. So you can say that this is my mom right here, and there I am. So these are all people that are potentially relatives of yours. So there's a lot of features in here which I think are unique to WikiTree. Again, the collaboration, the narrative, the biography is just very important. But also the help, and Bill pointed out the help as well. A lot of the websites just leave you on your own. You can't find anything. But here it is right here in the menu. And you can find all sorts of information. Help for new members, help how to use, and just tons and tons more information. Oh yeah, Bill, what is your Nisbet ID? I've been wanting to see if we're related.
It is 7615.
So I put in his number, and there he is. So I do my scrolling down to the bottom and see my connection.
Holy mackerel.
And there it is. Well, we're a long ways away from each other, but we do connect, which just goes to show how far back you can go with WikiTree once all the individual trees are merged together. And
Ed, I don't think we go back so much as we zigzag across generations.
Yes, yes, that's true. It's not a direct line as the others that I showed you are. But if you take it back step by step, we're there. And I believe you have an Indian connection, Bill?
That is yet to be verified.
Okay. All right.
You by Indian, you meant Native American.
Native American, yes. So there it is. Okay, have you had any questions while I've been yapping?
I think it's important that if you're using WikiTree for the first time, or you may have put your own profile in or whatever, is don't be afraid of putting things in there, saving things, experimenting. You're not going to break it. Nobody's going to come towards you with a big stick and say, you shouldn't be doing this. We all have to learn. And what we're putting out here is, this whole evening is about trying to portray to you that WikiTree has a lot of benefits. The connections are unbelievable. This notion of only being an individual, there can't be more of the same person. That's what we're trying to get over. We understand that people who may have spent years on other sites, have spent money, time, resources, gathering information and putting it on. I can tell you from experience, last week I've been checking ancestry trees to try and get through my brick wall, and I'm working in conjunction with another Nisbet in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're coming across things that people are saying on ancestry that we can't discount. We have to check it out, either count it in or count it out. We make contact with them and say, this is not matching. And so the society is asking people to now migrate to WikiTree after all that effort and money that's been spent on other sites is a big ask. What we're trying to say to you here is the benefits outweigh anything else that you do. And we're not asking you to stop using these sites. All we're asking is, can you share some of that knowledge and tree information that you've got on these other sites to put onto WikiTree and see where it takes us. Either Bill, do you want to add anything to this?
No, not really. I think you summed it up very well.
Peter?
I'd like to congratulate you three guys for an excellent introduction to WikiTree. And I look forward to getting the video out to more members who couldn't attend today, and getting a lot more questions come back. And the more people that get involved and the more people who learn to do things like Bill and Ed have done, then the more people will populate the number of people who are able to help everybody else. And we can really then become a true Nisbet community of helpers to really expand this Nisbet tree and make a success of it. It's a great start. Well done, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just like to say that James has mentioned individuals in the U.S. who he is helping. And let me just say, he's a real trooper. He, even though he's 5 hours time difference, he'll still work with you on a time that's convenient for you. And so don't hesitate to shoot him an email and either want to go through a complete module or just have individual help. He'll work with you in a time frame that you can handle. So cheers to James on that. He's very
Ed,
flexible.
can I just ask a quick, are you going to collect together all the questions that are been coming in, and so we can make some sort of inventory of questions that we can maybe then even, we can develop the answers and then share them as a separate list of people through different mechanisms, even Facebook or whatever, just so that we share the answers around as much as possible.
Well, if it works as it normally has, I get a text list of all the chat information. So we will have those questions, and I can send those along with the video, the recording.
Yeah, the other thing for members is if you need help, if you're quite happy going into WikiTree and doing your thing, and you come across a stumbling block, feel free to ask how you do a specific task. And if there's enough people who've got the same question, what we'll do is we'll try and set up a workshop, and then we'll capture more than 1 or 2 people with that. As long as it's not 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, make sure everybody's got an access point to fire in their questions. I know James has put his email on there, but I wouldn't want everything to come back just to James on his own. Let's or if James does get a lot, let's let James have to answer all of them. Let's share the workload out.
Well, that's a good point, because we've, there are several of our members who are quite knowledgeable about this. Of course, Gene, Peter's very knowledgeable about this, so we can share the joy around. I unfortunately are not on that knowledgeable list, so I don't know that I'll be a whole lot of help, but I'll sure try to find the answer for you. So,
yeah. Again,
folks, thanks for participating. Thanks for the good questions. James, Bill, thank you. And we hope in the future to have more targeted society talks rather than a general what I like about it. So be looking forward for those, and hope to see you then.